Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be doing a reboxing video for Everdell Silverfrost. Now this is the collector's edition. I didn't think this was going to need a reboxing video because it has a very nice insert, but there are some things that are not obvious, and if you don't have the upgraded resource vessels, which are very nice and are what the insert is built to hold, then you might be a little confused as to where everything goes. So again, I'm not quite sure how this will coincide with the Essential Edition, but let's go ahead and take a look at what the Collector's Edition has to offer here as far as storing the game away. So we have the rule book on top, obviously, and then we have the assembly sheet here. You're not going to have to assemble the beacon assemblies more than once, honestly, considering putting a little glue on mine so they stay together, but you are going to have to assemble the mountain every time you get it out, just like you had to assemble the tree and the lighthouse for Farshore. So don't throw this away. It's probably going to be second nature to you, but you never know. And then we have the board. So the board is very odd shaped when it's folded up. It doesn't fold up into equal pieces, but you can see there's little parts sticking out, but there is a way to put it in here into this insert that there's little cutouts. There's a cutout here, there's a cutout here, and then a cutout here. This is all parts of the board. So it is meant to sit in here and kind of be held in place so it doesn't rock around very much. So just make sure you kind of fit that in the proper orientation. That orientation is essentially going to start with the corner, the right angle of the board over here in the left-hand corner, opposite from the card wells, and we'll see this is also where the mountain has a spot. It has a spot for it, so it doesn't slide around. So everything is going to kind of start over here in the corner, which is going to be above the beacons that we'll see at the very bottom here. So let's just set the board off to the side. So the mountain, again, is designed to fit in here in this exact orientation in these two pieces. You can see there's little cutouts here. For this one, this is actually the back side of the mountain. And then underneath that, we have the front side of the mountain. There is a cutout here. There are perfect little cutouts here and here. All right, moving on under that, we have technically there is a spot for the 2D mountain board. They've included this in case people may want to not always build the mountain board, whether for space on the table or time constraints. There is a spot for this. As you can see, there are cutouts here and here. There's little notches. So everything is ending up in this corner above the beacons. This is kind of the top of the mountain. It holds it together and it fits nicely over top of the beacons here. It doesn't really have a notched space like the other ones do, but I found that it fit right here and it sits low enough that it's not going to mess anything else up. So that's really the biggest concerns of how to fit everything back in, and just recognizing where these notches fit everything. But you can see here the beacons, they have their spot, very straightforward. Inside, in between all the beacons here are your spots for your paw tokens. That's for solo mode. And then we have all these large wells here. These are where your deluxe resource trays are normally going to fit. There's going to be a treasure chest here for your coins. So for right now, I've just, in a baggie, have my coins. I combined them into one baggie. They came in two, so that I had an extra baggie to put the moss in, because the moss would come with a little tray of moss. And below the moss, there are spots for the deluxe chimneys. All right, so there's a nice spot right there. I didn't bother bagging up the chimneys. That seemed a little silly, but the moss, I didn't want to have to pull the moss out of the chimneys. I will probably eventually purchase the Deluxe Resource Vessels because I love them for Everdell, and it just makes setup and tear down super easy, and they're very thematic. So also over here, we have the wood tokens above the snowshoes. There's only a couple snowshoes. This well is a little deeper and bigger, so it's going to hold the chimneys. There's only 4 snowshoes, and so they're going to fit in this well. Again, the little tray for this would sit above them normally, so I just baggied those up. You could go sans baggies and not worry about it, and things are probably not going to slide around too much as long as you keep the box, flat. But These three here, boom, 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 are just where their vessels would be in their baggies, so I can pull them out and get them to the table more quickly other than scooping them out. Last thing is that for the mountain pieces, they gave you, if you guys can see that, they give you 4 extra of the little tiniest little pieces that help keep the cards away from the mountain so they're easier to grab off. And I found that they fit perfectly right there. I don't know if that space is designed for those 4 extra pieces or not, or whether it's just helps keep the treasure chest that normally sits there from, you know, sucking down into the bottom like a suction thing. But they fit perfectly right there. So I have stored them there. Those are extras, all right, because the main ones are right here. So again, the mountain board, just like everything else, has to be torn down and reassembled each time. Some people may find that annoying, but you are going to want to have to keep track of the pieces, especially these smaller pieces. So I definitely baggied these up, and these just fit nicely over top of the Euro size cards. And then you have, there's not a, I wish there was a deluxe resource for the snow, because it is a resource in this game that you're going to be pulling out and putting back in just as much as these other ones, but it doesn't have a spot. So they give you a single baggie, extra baggie, which holds the snow. You could either fit your meeples in this tray, or you could fit your snow in this tray. You're going to have to put the other ones over there. Now, right now I have all of the kind of valley, critter, and construction cards right here. This one little token here sits on top of that nicely. All of the Euro size cards fit in here with this one token sitting on top of that nicely. Now, none of my cards are sleeved at the moment, and I know there's a lot of people who are going to want to sleeve their cards. That is going to create a little bit of a conundrum about how everything is going to fit, because you're going to end up using both of these card wells for sleeved cards. I don't know where, like, this is meant to be stored. So take that into consideration before you sleeve your cards, certainly. And that's pretty much it. Again, you could leave the snow tokens loose in here, but then you're going to have to just be pulling them out of this area every time you set up the game. But that's it. I'm going to officially rebox the game now. So if you've made it this far and only wanted to see the box going back in, here again we have the chimneys and the snowshoes under there, coins, 3 other resources right here. We have the beacons. They make perfect sense fitting right there. We have the snow. We have the meeples over top of, on this side I just have the solo cards and the promo cards there, all the Euro cards, all the rest of the cards. And now here we go. So we're going to take this mountain piece. It's going to fit, like this right there. It just kind of hangs out. This one next. All right, it goes in like that. This one next. All right, it's going to go in like that. So you can see the 2 and the 3 facing up. It fits into this notch here. All right, and there's, you know, cutouts over here and here that it all fits nicely. All right, then we're going to have the back side of the mountain board. That one is going to fit at an angle. So you can see that this side it's flat, but it doesn't seem like it fits in there. You almost want to put it in like this, but that's not correct. We want to line up this side over here. Here's our notches. We fit them in. There's a notch right there. We're good to go. And then last but not least, the board. We're going to take the board with the hot springs side sticking up. It's not going to work this way. Actually, it might. Well, look at that. So it does seem to be somewhat symmetrical. It appears to go in either way. So take your pick. But you're going to want to put the right-handed corner in on this side here. It fits either way. Good for them. They figured that out. And then obviously your rule books and stuff. So there is a little bit of extra room up here. If you needed to put like a bag of snow tokens or something like that. So we could probably make it work. I would be very careful about, with your box though, because the sides appear to be bumping the edges of the main board and just kind of denting them in a little bit, which is a little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. All right, and there we go. There is the lid back on, and that is a reboxing video for Silverfrost, specifically the collector's edition without the resource vessels. The resource vessels make it pretty straightforward because they only fit in certain areas. What you just saw, just take the resource vessels and put them in where we saw each of the resources, and you're good to go. Anyways, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a great day.